Welcome back. I'm Selby Drummond from Vogue, and we're here for our third live Google Plus Hangout for the Ovation original series, The Fashion Fund, which airs tonight at 10 o'clock. But for the next 15 minutes, I'm going to be here talking with 5 of my favorite people who also happen to be very talented designers and past Fashion Fund finalists. So I'm going to let everybody introduce themselves. Jen Fisher. Jen, can we hear you? Jen? Hi, Jen. Juan Carlos Obando.
Hi, Selby. How are you?
Hi, Juan Carlos. Ariel and Shimon Ovadia of Ovadia and Sons.
Hi, everyone. Hello, Selby.
Hey, and Wes Gordon.
Hi, Selby.
Hi, Wes. So thank you guys for joining us all. We're here talking about the next episode, which is all about the Vogue shoot that happens for the November issue with all of the finalists. So I want to hear from you guys exactly what your experiences were during the photo shoot, what it was like to be photographed for Vogue, not just your clothes, but you yourselves. Jen, are you there?
After so much talking, she got muted.
We don't hear Jen now, so
she was censored.
I'll ask you guys, Ariel and Shimon, what the question I was going to ask Jen, which is what kind of beauty regime did you go on before your photo shoot? Did you guys drop everything and do something special to get in shape?
I went on a cleanse for about 2.5 weeks, and I fasted for 2 days. And no, it was actually one of the easiest shoots we've done. And we got to the studio, and Tabitha styled it, and Sebastian Kim was really great. He had a vision for the image he wanted, and we were in there for about 15 minutes, and it was done. Yeah, it was really exciting for us because we really wanted to see what the photo was going to look like, and the issue was coming out in a couple of months, and Vogue told us, oh, you have to wait until we show you the photo, and people were texting us, and we saw it on the newsstand, so it was really exciting. And when we finally saw the issue and the photo in person, we were really humbled, and we were excited about it.
Well, I have it here. Did you guys have to balance for hours on these chairs while you were being photographed?
Yeah, that was me. It was actually some, Hollywood magic. So there were some sandbags, and they made it pretty easy for us
No sandbags. All that is real. It all happened.
Yeah. It's all magic floating in the air.
We got to see in the Ovation series earlier on your guys' family, and your mom had really loved Vogue, so I know you grew up reading it at the kitchen table in the morning while you ate your cereal and absorbing all that. Was she excited about your being in Vogue? And actually, there are fabulous pictures of her that happen in the montage in the Ovation series. Was she excited to be on TV with you?
Forget it. Right after the episode aired, and my mom called me, and she was like, they put these terrible pictures of your dad, he's embarrassed, and you should be ashamed they didn't even use my picture, and they mixed up my aunt, and they used a photo of my aunt instead of my mom because we gave them all these old images.
No. Okay.
So those 31 years, reading Vogue, stealing it from my mom, and my aunt ends up on TV instead. Yeah, I told her I'll make up for it, so...
I'm very sorry about that. Juan Carlos, what was it like for you to have your picture in Vogue?
Well, it's a pretty amazing moment, but I think it really had to do with the power behind the photo that defines so many things, from image all the way to the business aspect of it. It was pretty amazing when a client went to Barney's and she brought the magazine and she showed it to the personal shopper and said, I want this specific dress, and I want to order it, and I would love to have it. And I think that was pretty amazing. I mean, to see that immediate reaction to something that you never expect is going to be so quick. It's pretty crazy.
That's amazing. Wes, what was your shoot like?
My shoot was with Raquel Zimmerman, and we were on Fifth Avenue, kind of outside of Bergdorf's and the Apple store. And the thing that's amazing about being there, obviously Raquel is beautiful and someone worth taking an iPhone picture of. I certainly am not. And just by virtue of standing on this busy corner with photographers around you, every tourist in New York City thinks it's something really exciting that they have to document. So throughout the whole shoot, we had like 10 people deep of crowds around us, all these people snapping pictures, no idea what they're taking pictures of. And to this day, I wonder what became of all these pictures of this photo shoot happening on Fifth Avenue. But it was definitely an unforgettable New York moment.
Well, I think all those people think they have pictures of Raquel Zimmerman with Nick Jonas. Like,
no, they're in for a disappointment when they go on Antique Roadshow someday or something.
But Wes, do you feel like, because I sometimes feel like this being an editor, that the difference between the reality of living this life and what the image is of being a fashion designer or being an editor are completely different. So do you feel like there's a difference?
I mean, I'm sitting here in my dirty office right now at 9:35, a week away from a collection. So yes, there's definitely a difference. It's so much hard work. It's exciting and it's beautiful, but it's a lot less glamorous, I think, than people imagine it to be. The reality is that it's countless hours and it's pounding the pavement, and it's really building that fantasy and that dream stitch by stitch. As you can see, we're in the midst of it right now.
But you've had some good fashion fairy tale moments in your career, because I know you did incredible formal training with some of the most impressive designers who've built amazing houses.
Yeah, I was really lucky. I grew up in Atlanta, and I fell in love with the idea of fashion and was always drawing people in clothes. And I moved to London. I went to school at St. Martin's, and I was able to get a summer internship with Oscar de la Renta. And I would go to a studio and I'd hold pins for him, it was a very high anxiety summer for me because I was always afraid I was going to draw blood from Mr. de la Renta, because he kind of he grabs from the side without looking, so I'd always have to kind of guess where his hand was going to go.
And then it would be over for you. That would be
oh my God,
no
the worst thing in the
fun.
world. But it's the most beautiful, elegant, studio imaginable. It's how you dream of fashion being. And while you're there, you kind of fall in love with the romance of fashion. And then following that, I was able to spend time in Tom Ford's studio in London, which was absolutely amazing too. They had just started. It was a relatively small office, and the world of Tom Ford it's so true. It's truly a world, and it's a world that like the second you set foot in the door, you desperately want to be a part. Everything's perfect in the office. It's all about this quest for perfection, and that's definitely something that I took away is the idea of not settling and really focusing on every detail.
Tom is a legend. I love this idea of Tom. Tom has a baby now, and I think about this all the time because you never see the baby, but that baby must be perfect and must have like the perfect clothes and with the perfect shade of gray and perfect skin. But anyway, Tom Ford actually was a big part of this season's Fashion Fund because he gave the keynote speech at the dinner. So I kind of want to ask you guys what your favorite takeaway was from his speech. It was incredible. It was 20 minutes, and it was like real gold of fashion wisdom. But could you even remember that? You guys who were the finalists, and his final, it was right leading up to when you were announced as the winners. Like, Juan Carlos, was that blank for you, or do you have a memory of what he actually said?
No, I think it was such a powerful speech. I think everybody in the room, I think it's going to be something pretty unforgettable. I think one of the many things that really struck me was when he said that, a woman doesn't really need another dress, another jacket. I think part of our job is to create the desire for her to want that. Or in the case of the Ovadian songs, for the men to desire those socks.
Exactly. You need to have Ovadia socks. There are no other acceptable socks.
Absolutely.
Do we have Jen back? Jen, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Welcome back. Okay, so let's hear, Jen, I know that you, speaking of this idea that women don't necessarily need more luxury goods, they don't necessarily need jewelry, and you're creating an object of real desire when you're convincing people to buy your jewelry and buy into your brand and the dream you're creating. I have to mention that Beyonce just wore your earrings at the Grammys, and it was this incredible moment, and she wore them in all of your videos. Is that something for you? What is that like, those moments?
Oh, it's so crazy, Selby. I mean, those are those moments that you can't, as a designer, ever, you can't plan for those, because anyone who's a designer knows that you send a million things out to all the celebrities and to everybody for certain events, and you never know until they hit the carpet or they hit the stage if they're wearing your pieces or not. And for me, for the Grammys on Sunday night, it was crazy because, we were trying to replicate a look from Drunken Love, because she wore all my jewelry in the video. And we looked at her wrist when she started performing, and she didn't have anything on, and so my heart sank. And then when she turned around and whipped her head around and she had my earrings on, it was a moment that I was jumping up and down in my bed, and my kids were behind me screaming, and I actually scared my kids at first because I started screaming so loud. So it was one of those things that you can't, as a designer, it's so rewarding, but it's nothing that you can ever plan for, and it's not premeditated, and it's just something that has to come naturally. But it's really one of those things that I feel like, it wouldn't have happened for me, I think, had I not been through the Vogue Fashion Fund and really the opportunities that come after being involved in such an incredible process.
Shimon and Ariel, do you guys dress a lot of celebrities? Have you had more celebrity requests or things since the Fashion Fund?
So definitely, we met some stylists out in LA when we came out for the Fashion Fund at the Chateau, but we're seeing that a lot of men, a lot of celebrities are contacting us not to borrow clothing, but they want to buy the clothing. They want to keep it, and they want to have a suit made, or they want to buy our sportswear. So we've definitely seen that pick up, and it's really cool and rewarding.
That's fabulous. I didn't know that, so I'm very happy to hear that.
Yeah.
And Juan Carlos, I know you have always sort of dressed celebrities, but was there a change for you in who you were able to reach?
Yeah, I mean, we used after the fashion, after the wings in November, it was a drastic shift. We used to have a phenomenal moment with Kate Blanchett, with Julia Roberts, with Amy Adams. I think like it was these kind of back-to-back moments that really made a huge difference for us. And it's kind of a not only fashion week, but we, in the back of my head, from my mind, I'm thinking about award season. We are, on the rally towards the Oscars, which is a major part of my career and my business, every year.
Yeah.
So we're getting there. We have a few surprises lined up.
Good. And I just want to check in one last time with Ariel, because I know there was some talk on the show about your wife being a little upset that your honeymoon had to be canceled because of the Fashion Fund presentation. Have you guys made it past that rough spot?
Well, I tried to convince her that that we won't be able to go on the honeymoon, but she wasn't having it, and she gave me a hard time. But I ended up Skyping in for the call, and I was sitting. It was literally 95 degrees outside, and I was in the car with the AC blasting with my hat on, and I'm on my phone, and it was just unbelievable. But you have to sacrifice, and it's one of those things that I'll look back and laugh at, and that's why there's two of us,
Yeah.
So next time I get to go somewhere, and
you guys have an uncanny advantage. I know a lot of the other designers you were competing with were very annoyed. They were like, if there were just two of me, I could get from my studio to my factory to Vogue to wherever,
Right.
I think we're running out of time, so I just wanted to, Juan Carlos, your show is actually tomorrow, your fashion show, so I know you're heading straight to the studio after this, and all of you I know are preparing for something in one way or another. So, Juan Carlos, you and I were talking a little bit earlier about another great Tom Ford takeaway. Do you want to just leave us with that moment of zen, parting thought?
Yes, I think Tom Ford reminded us that we all have the power to say fuck it and go to bed, and because everything will look better in the morning. So scrap that board and recast. recast.
All right. So on that note, thank you guys all so much for joining me. Go back and finish, for God's sake, what you need to finish on the runway for your presentations for your models. And to everyone else who joined from home, enjoy watching the Ovation episode at 10 o'clock, and we'll see you again next week at 9:30 right here for another Google Hangout. Thanks so much.